Howdy, Beefalo Bard here, and just a quick video. This is a little tutorial, and what you see here, standard, average, everyday, third person. Okay, it's normal. So we're gonna hit play, and yep, it's typical. Yay, everything is normal. Okay, first thing that I always do is get rid of you and get rid of you just for the heck of it, and I don't even need you anymore. So this is one of the things that I do every time that I create a new standard project. But what we're going to do in this one right here is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to, you see nothing up there, trust me, you see nothing. I'm going to go ahead and add the Polygon City Pack in to this new project. It is called TPS 2 cars. Doesn't matter what it's called. Ignore everything you see nothing. You see nothing here. Anyway, so I'm adding that in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a retargeting so that I can actually become one of these characters. And for this particular one, I'm just going to go ahead and set it up as, oh, who cares? We'll figure that out in just a moment. But one of the things that I also want to do is, and you know, retargeting and getting the characters working, it's not going to be a problem. But this also includes cars that are rigged, and hey, why not? Of course, this map is just a hair too small for that, so just for the giggles, we're also going to go ahead and get rid of everything out of here. And yeah, you always end up having to retarget and do all kind of fancy stuff. You also are going to need to get rid of your lighting builds and that kind of stuff. But right now, if I build lighting, you know, it's just going to take a couple seconds because there's really nothing here. But when you're talking about a project where you're getting 2, 3, 4, 5,000 actors, it can take quite some time to do a lighting rebuild. So there's a couple things you can do. One of them is if you find your light source and you change it over to movable, and then if you type in your search block here, not here, or is it here? And of course, everything is going to fight me whenever I'm just trying to find something. So, changing that over, and then changing over in the world settings, force no pre-compute, and then click OK. And essentially, it's, if you've already done a basic lighting build for the main environment, you're not going to have to do it again. So that little thing right there can help with trying to put together large maps with lots and lots of actors on it. So okay, let's go ahead and get into the retargeting of the characters. And in this particular one, these characters are already set up to run off of one skeleton, and all we need to do is retarget for this. But this one's already set up for the humanoid rig, so I don't have to do anything with it just yet. So we need to come over here to our mannequin, character, and then mesh. And we're going to want to open our UE4 mannequin skeleton and click on the retargeting manager. If this doesn't show up on a tab here, just click it from up here. And the one thing I want to do is I want to grab his upper arm. I want to rotate that up to 50 and rotate the other arm up to 50. Now, one of the things that I was doing is, and I forget sometimes, you can click on the lower arm and rotate it either 20 or 30. I normally do 30. Occasionally these animations can look a little strange, but I'm going to go ahead and set them all to 30. This puts our UE4 mannequin into a T-pose, and I want to modify a pose, use current, and then it's going to want me to save, so I'll go ahead and save. And the next thing we want to do is select rig, select humanoid rig, and it's going to tell me I need to save again. So I'm going to hit save. I'm going to close this. I'm going to hit save all, and it's going to save everything we got now. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to keep it simple, and I'm going to come over here to the content folder. I'm going to create, the first new folder is going to be characters, and that's just one thing that I do. And if I plan on adding more in, then I need to break it up if I do more of the different packs and whatnot. So I'm going to go ahead for now and just create another one. It's called City. And I'm going to go ahead and call this one Unarmed. So we've got those open. And then we want to come to our animation folder. You want to right click on third person animation blueprint, the orange one. Retarget animation blueprints, duplicate animation blueprints, and retarget. And I'm going to select my city rig and retarget. Now it's going to create them in the root content folder. So while they're all highlighted, I'm going to go ahead and drag them into the unarmed and select move here. And then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to click and then hit F2. And I'm going to rename this particular one just city underscore unarmed. So I know what it is. So now if I want to, I can go from, okay, I'm running around as UE4 mannequin. So what we can do here now is go to our third person blueprints, third person character, double click on our guy here, click on the mesh, change the SK mannequin, and we're going to change this over to, what do we feel like being? Let's be businessman shirt. And then if you notice in your viewport, it's changed the skeleton over, and we need to change the animation class to the one that we just created, which was City Unarmed BP. And there you go. Compile, save, and now we can run around and we are this guy. If we decide that we want to change it around a little bit, then all we have to do is go back into the third person character. All this lovely information can stay the same. Just click on mesh, click on the skeletal mesh, and let's be male police. That sounds good. And then compile and save. And so now we are this handsome police officer. So that's awesome. And yes, we still have a very small area here. But here's the next little trick that I want to do. So I want to get at least a car in here. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new folder, and I'm going to go ahead and call this vehicles. And since there's nothing in here just yet, I'm going to go ahead and click back on content. I want to click on add new. Now from this, I want to add features or content pack, the very top option, and it's going to bring up this same interface when you're creating a new project. And I'm going to go ahead and add in vehicle. Add to project. And then I can close that. Now, it has added the vehicle BP. And it's going to give you the new game modes, a sample map you can play around with, and the car here. And if you look at it, this is the actual blueprint for the car. We're not going to directly edit this one. we are going to drag it over to our vehicles, select copy here. Now we're going to go into the vehicles folder, and we're going to go ahead and rename this to vehicle underscore base. Now, if we decide we want to add more cars in, that's no problem. But for now, since I'm the police officer, let's go ahead and right click on it, create child blueprint class, and we're going to call this police car underscore BP. So now we can go into this one, and we notice we have the sedan right here. We don't want that, so we're going to click on the mesh, and we're not so much worried about the animation class right now. Let's change the sedan skeletal mesh, and let's type in police. So we want SK vehicle car police 01, and we're almost done. So we just changed it over, and if we try to drive the car right now, it will not work. I'm going to go ahead and set the animation class. It's not really that important. It'll work the same one way or the other. You'll end up having to change a few things around anyway. But the next thing we need to do before we can do anything, we can go ahead and compile and save. But we need to come down to vehicle movement. And we're going to have a problem with the tires, the wheels. If we try to use it right now, it's going to bounce and jump all around, and it's just going to be a royal pain in the butt. So we need to find where the tires are, or the wheels. And we can sit here and scroll through and, okay, where is it? Wheel setups. And you can see this is what we have here. If you were to go into the skeleton and you wanted to get the correct names, so we need to have all these open for right now. But I will show you really quickly. If you go back into your Polygon City, your meshes, and your vehicles rigged, if you were to look at the skeleton, it's going to be the same for all of them. But since we're doing the police car, I'll go ahead and open up it. Now, if you look, the actual skeleton itself, your tires are called wheel underscore FL, which would be front left, front right, right left, or rear left, and rear right. So knowing that that's what we have, front left, we need to change from wheel underscore front underscore left. We want to change this to lowercase FL. That is how it is in the skeleton, so that's how we need to match it. So this is front right, so we need to change this to FR. And this is rear left, so we need RL. And then last is going to be right rear, so we need RR. We can hit compile and save. And here's the next thing. All we have is a player start. If we just hit play right now, we're going to be this character, and we can run around, and it's awesomeness. However, if we decide we want to be the police car, we need to come over to our world settings, and game mode override, we're going to select on vehicle game mode, and in the default pawn class, we need to select police car BP. Now the controls may not be right, but as you see, we are now the police car, and we're driving around in the scene as a police car. Now you don't have the same views and controls, but I'm still doing the same as if I were walking. So that's it. And again, if we wanted to create something different, we could actually change the blueprints around. And to do that, all we would really need to do is if we wanted to become the taxi, we would have to do basically the same thing. If we look at our police car, but we'll look in the vehicle base. Now, we can modify the vehicle base, which probably would be the best thing to do, because we're not going to use that sedan base anymore. we don't want to use that stock vehicle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into it, and I'm going to find the mesh. I'm going to go ahead and change out that, and let's go ahead and make that into, oh, who cares, the ambulance. So that will be our default for underscore base. Compile and save. Come back over to our vehicle movement, and if we want to, we can choose wheel just by typing it into the search block, and end up doing the same thing we did here. This is front left, so we need to do lowercase FL. Front right, we need to go ahead and do FR. Rear left, come on, so RL, and finally we'll go into RR. So I'm going to go ahead and compile and save, and just for right now, if we want to test it out, go into our world settings. We're going to go from police car BP to we called vehicle base. Really quickly, I'm going to do a save all because it's modified, but we can change it to vehicle base, which is going to be this. Hit play, and now it can be the ambulance. Now, if we want to add other cars in to make them drivable as well, then all we have to do is go from our vehicle base. Again, right click, create child blueprint class, and let's call this muscle car BP. Go into it, and we want to change the skeletal mesh over from the ambulance over to the muscle car. Now, I like the blue and the white. It's a classic color. So now let's go ahead and change our world settings. Let's see what happens if we now just go right into muscle car and hit play. It works. Yay. We don't have any problems with our tires. So we can change views and stuff like that later on. That will be another project. But like I was saying about this, it's using Matte Polygon City Texture 01A. We can actually come over here, and since what it is, and I'll actually close this for just a moment, the textures for the vehicles, a lot of their textures are actually blended in, and we said that one was, we'll go ahead and keep this up, but it's texture 01A. So if we look in our materials for 01A, that would be this one right here. Well, it's got a lot of different things inside here, but if you were to look, it's actually using this texture sample here, and it's got a lot of stuff in that one thing, from signs to what have you. And if you looked in the textures, 01A is all of this information all in one, and it's good and bad. I mean, the promising thing is if you're making an Android or iPhone game, you can actually use the same items to create those, but I'm not. So I'm going to go ahead and, just for giggles, I'm going to go ahead and go into my vehicle, muscle car BP, and we're going to go from 01A, and let's see what happens to 01B. Compile, save, and we've changed, let's go ahead and open that up. We've changed the color of our car. So you can cycle through some of the other ones, and it'll actually change the physical colors of the car. And again, just changing them around. That's cool. Now we can drive around as this color car instead of the blue with the white stripe. And as a fun thing you can do later on, if you wish to, you can actually set it up to where, and just for now, I'm changing my game mode back over, and I'm going to go ahead and spawn this car in, and hit play. So you could actually make it to where when you walk over, you can hit the E key, and it puts you inside the car, and then now you can take over as driving the car just by changing your game mode and your default actor. I mean, I believe you can do all that in Blueprints, and I'll experiment with it later on, and if I can come up with a good way of doing it, then I'll go ahead and make a quick tutorial on that. But that is quickly how you can go ahead and incorporate, if you're doing a driving game, the car into the game and drive any of the cars from that pack, or if you want to use any of the characters from the pack, how to retarget to get that working. And this will work on other characters as well, just doing a good retargeting. So I hope this helps, and I hope you enjoy the video, and we'll see you in the next one.